We start the show this week with an update from last week's show. Last week, our guest was Olabode Showumi, an oil and gas expert, and we're talking about the possibility of a hike in the price of fuel following the fuel scarcity in the EFCT, despite assurances from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation that there was no plan to increase the ex-depot price of fuel. And the fuel queues are back. But the NNPC still insists that there is no increase in the ex-depot price of fuel, and the grumbling has started. We'll be monitoring the trends for the next few weeks and do a follow-up on it soon. This week, however, we're looking at the insecurity in the country in the midst of an almost nationwide militarization. In our feature story, we look at a very disturbing contribution to insecurity. Shanties. They're loitered all over the nation's capital, ungoverned and perhaps ungovernable spaces, filled with criminal elements. The FCT administration has embarked on massive demolitions of shanties. Is this the ultimate solution to rising crime in the FCT? In 2021 alone, there have been 27 kidnappings in Abuja. What is to be done? My guest on the program, retired Air Commodore Abayomi Balogun, has a few ideas and gives me a perspective to the criminal operations in shanties that's truly scary and requires a thoughtful approach on the part of government. And in our Abuja wrap, President Muhammadu Buhari stands on his shoot-at-sight order for anyone holding an AK-47. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Nigeria has a strong military presence in almost all its states, yet somehow kidnappings and banditry continue. It's been called the most lucrative business in Nigeria, and these criminals are apparently cashing out almost weekly. Where are we getting it wrong? We'll get to that shortly, but first, let's take a look at the major happenings from Nigeria's seat of power. President Muhammadu Buhari is urging traditional rulers to use their roles in their communities to complement government efforts at ensuring peace and security. Speaking during a meeting with the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria at the State House, President Buhari warns that no investor will invest in a country that is unsafe.
One thing that got to the press, which I read myself, was that anybody with AK-47 should be shot. Because AK-47 is supposed to be registered and is only given to security officials. We close the borders, for how many years? But the intelligence report I'm getting on a daily basis, those who are conducting the abduction, the killing and so on, still don't seem to be short of arms and ammunition. I see how they attacked police stations, killed the police, ransacked the armory and the magazine. The state government is saturated. The local government is saturated. And nobody will bring a kobo to invest in Nigeria if they keep on making Nigeria insecure. I said that message must be told to the youth. But I assure you we are doing our best. Our best hasn't proved to be good enough, but we are getting desperate. And we are given the orders to the military especially. In 6 weeks' time, I want to see a difference.
Meanwhile, the National Security Advisor, General Babagana Munguno, is insisting that Nigeria is capable of tackling its security issues with its own resources. He insists that the federal government will not resort to engaging mercenaries to tackle insurgency within the country. Speaking at the third edition of a special presidential weekly briefing, General Munguno adds that the negotiations with terrorists, bandits or insurgents will not be considered.
We can't keep on dwelling on let's dialogue. Psychologically, it's not even good for us. It paints the picture of weakness. It paints the picture of incapacity. And I, just like the governor of Kaduna State, do not see any reason why we cannot, with what we have, deal with these elements.
In the meantime, President Buhari has performed the virtual groundbreaking ceremony of 3 projects in the South-South region. They are the rehabilitation of Port Harcourt-Maiduguri Eastern Narrow Gauge Railway and the Bonny Deep Seaport and Railway Industrial Park in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The president performed the exercise virtually.
This improved port is designed to be a regional and international transport hub, in line with the global trends, the railway industrial park will have the capability for processing exports of raw materials with value addition and also export of locally made goods.
Staying with the Niger Delta region, President Buhari says the development of the Niger Delta region is crucial to the development of the country's economy. He made the comments at the virtual commissioning of the headquarters of the Niger Delta Development Commission in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The Federal Executive Council has approved a monitoring system to identify all projects by the ministries, departments and agencies across the oil-rich Niger Delta region. The Minister of the Niger Delta, Godswill Akpabio, told State House correspondents that the Council also approved with 500 million naira for the construction of the 18.7-kilometer Bulio-Riagbene Road in Bomadi local government area of Delta State. Former Vice President Architect Namadi Sambo met with President Buhari to give him an update on the conduct of the presidential election in Niger Republic. Architect Sambo is the head of the ECOWAS mission on the election. Staying within diplomatic circles, the United Kingdom is returning the sum of £4.2 million to Nigeria, recovered from associates and family members of former Delta State Governor Mr. James Ibori. The Memorandum of Understanding for the return of the fund has been signed by the two countries, with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, signing on behalf of the federal government.
The Federal Executive Council, under the able leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, has directed that the instant repatriated funds should be deployed towards the completion of the following legacy projects. 1. The second Niger Bridge. 2. Abuja to Kano Expressway. And 3. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, under the coordination of the Nigeria Social Investment Authority to ensure integrity of the process.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of the Joint United Nations Programme on HIV and AIDS, Mrs. Winnie Byanyima, met with President Muhammadu Buhari as Nigeria joined the rest of the world to mark the 2021 International Women's Day. During the visit, President Buhari assured that his administration will do all it can to continue to empower women. Abuja, the nation's capital, is again witnessing long queues of vehicles as motorists struggle to buy premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol. The backdrop of the speculations that the pump price of the product may be increased. Although the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation continues to insist that there is no plan to increase the price of the product. Welcome back. If you know anything about criminality, you know it only succeeds with proper collaborations. There are informants, lookouts, muscle men, dons, kingpins, foot soldiers. Oh, crime is a network. And these collaborators live around us, mostly in shanties. Some criminals were traced to shanties around the Federal Capital Territory. So the FCT administration demolished shanties in Karu and Jikoyi. Our feature story looks at why shanties spring up in our communities and if demolishing them is the solution to Abuja's rising criminality. Located on the western border of the Federal Capital Territory with Niger State, Tungamaje in Gwagwalada Area Council is 33 kilometers to Abuja's city center. A largely agrarian community with few houses and populated by the Gbagi-speaking indigents of the FCT. In September of last year, the community was invaded by gunmen who kidnapped 11 members of the community, including women and children. They were later rescued. This year, at least 27 persons have reportedly been kidnapped in the nation's capital in the first 6 weeks. Despite being the seat of power, which implies higher security presence, the FCT has been in the news for all the negative security reasons, ranging from kidnappings to robbery. The 27 victims were reportedly abducted in 6 different incidents across the FCT. The locations of these abductions were reported as Gwagwalada, Kubwa, Pegi, Abaji, Tungamaje, and Buari. According to a 2020 report by SB Morgan, the nation's capital ranked 11th among the places where abductees have been rampant in Abuja.
In 2 years, we had more than, let's say, not more than 8 kidnapped different cases where people are taken in mass, where people will be taken. There were times that we had issues that about 12 people were kidnapped and they were asked to pay ransom. They have been taking people right inside the heart of this town. They have been kidnapping people. It's just that some people have not come out to have the opportunity to meet the media and make this case. But they have been taking people. If you go out in the night now or you're driving around 7 o'clock, there have been robbery cases along Apo Express. There have been robbery cases several times. If you go out in the night, it's either they will stone your car and stop you, compel you to stop, or you stop at a speed bump. Somebody will just kidnap you and take you away, will collect all your valuables.
Security situation in the country and as vis-a-vis the FCT is not something that is encouraging because it could be better. You know, by all standards it could be better. But this is the city center, for crying out loud, so it could be better. It's worse off at the outer outside the city. If you go to the other areas, the remote areas in the city center, it's worse off. In fact, they don't even have security. What you find that you have maybe police station, all those things are designed basically for some settlements and all of that. They don't really do proper containment measures because even the way the environment is, it encourages for crime to actually go on. With ease.
Aside from these attacks, the criminal activities ravaging the FCT include murder, armed robbery, and cultism. This estate in the Idu area of the city is one of the major projects under the mass housing program of the FCT administration. They have had their share of security breaches. The situation is further worsened by the poor state of infrastructure in the area. For them, the issue is with the growing presence of miscreants living in the shanties around the estate.
We have a shanty behind us here. All manner of people just, barging into the estate at any point in time. And most times they've attacked a few of my neighbors here. And even for those who are still constructing, you discover that most of their construction materials are stolen most times. So it's been a great challenge to us. And we're appealing to the FCT administration, to the minister and the directors there to find a way to continue with the third road coming in from the Turkish hospital down towards Ochacho Estate, Mag Global, and then Chase Bond. If that is opened up, you discover that these shanties will definitely give way, security will improve, and it will be of great support to even the policemen to be able to carry out patrol.
The road is a major challenge for us because everything, even when we try to persuade the owner of the estate to do most of this internal infrastructure, he complained about the fence, that before he could do anything, he wants the place to be fenced. So which supposed to go along with the road. So the road is done, the shanties will be removed, the fencing will be done, the police post will be established, and every other thing will follow.
Review the minutes and circulated.
These crimes within the nation's capital necessitated the FCT Security Council meeting, which was attended by representatives of security agencies as well as community and religious leaders. The meeting provided an opportunity to review the situation, and the FCT minister promised that an improved working synergy will be adopted to address the issue.
Each time there is a crisis, you find that people of no known address, people without any means of livelihood, suddenly come up with arms and start fighting each other and killing each other. All this is done under the influence of drugs. So this is something we are going to confront head on. And of course, the security agencies also updated us on their plans and strategy to be able to fight the kidnappings that we have, especially in the communities outside the federal capital city itself.
Following the meeting, the FCT police deploys officers under the second leg of Operation Puffadder to combat the threat of kidnappers and other criminals.
We've had a few cases, and we think that the FCT should be more fortified. That is the thinking behind the fortification of security around the FCT. We are assuring members of the public that we are up to the task, and they should be rest assured that we are here to guarantee security for them.
The command continues to appeal to residents to furnish the police and other security agencies with relevant information that will aid the arrest and prosecution of criminals. My guest on the program is retired Air Commodore Abayomi Balogun. He has 33 years of active service under his belt and was part of Nigeria's peacekeeping efforts in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and various joint military operations in the country. These days, he advocates for war veterans and is a security expert both locally and internationally. When it comes to tackling insecurity in Nigeria, he gives us a few ideas and is optimistic that the new security chiefs will get the job done. Retired Air Commodore Balogun, welcome to Dateline.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, I've read quite a bit about you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
The way the military was run at the time when you were in active service, because you're retired now.
I am.
But you've been on the ground. You've been at the war front, not in Sierra Leone, in Liberia. Yeah. You know, in joint operations in Nigeria as well. At the time when you were in active service, is there a difference between how military operations were carried out then and how they are carried out now?
Yeah, I would say so, because I've told some people that we forget yesterday. If not, what we did in faraway Liberia and Sierra Leone was the ideal way to go, where we were all our brother's keeper. The Army and the Navy and the Air Force, we fought together in unison, and that's why we achieved what we did. And even the operation in Nigeria started on a good note. They were fighting jointly, especially when the operation was under the command of the DHQ. But when they changed that and the services went their ways, and normally it is in unison that you can achieve more. Until we learn to come back together and fight as a team, then we will succeed in no time.
Mr. President has always tried to talk about the fact that, you know, the agencies that are fighting insecurity in this country have to be in unison, you know, and those are the same sentiments that you're re-echoing right now.
Yes, of course, they must fight in unison. In fact, there is a document that the President signed in 2019 called the National Security Strategy. And that document shows how to go, the way to go, the guideline of how to ensure Nigeria is safe and secure. And it calls for an all-inclusive approach where everybody is involved. But then, I don't know why we do that in Nigeria. We will come up with resolutions, everything, but just to implement those things will be a problem. I'm not expecting the president to sign such a document and it's not being implemented, because if they have enforced it, the military have no other option than to work together.
Talk to me about the morale of our operatives at this point. What can we be doing differently to boost their morale?
Okay, I will start from Nigerians, the citizens. You have sent these guys to go and defend you, to go and protect you. What have you done for them? Yeah, it's normal, because if you want to motivate people to serve you, you must also show them that you care about them. Take, for instance, we are sending a football team, national team, to go and play Brazil. Several people will come up and say, go there, score a goal and we'll give you $1 million. Win the championship, we'll give you a house, we'll give you whatever. Has anybody promised a soldier going to a destination where he may never return and say, go and come back, we will look after your family in case of eventuality? No, we never say that. We just expect that they must. Yes, soldiers have agreed, we have signed our life. Immediately we join, we sign our death certificates. But then people must continuously be encouraged to do more. So if you say the morale of the troops, yes, sometimes it is low because of what they pass through. But then if you provide other things, it can make up for that. You must have enough equipment. They must be adequately trained. Their emoluments must be paid to them on time. Then you expect them to answer you. But if any of those things are missing, then their morale will sink and they cannot perform to the optimum. So it's a collective responsibility that we too must show them that we care. We must show them that we are behind them and will look after their family in case they are no longer there. But we don't do that. So I think we have a role to play as citizens.
Shanties are a reality, not just in the nation's capital, in Lagos, around the country. And it's actually, it's a symptom of a deeper problem, which is the fact that it is difficult to survive in many cities in Nigeria, especially in Abuja. So what happens is, because people cannot afford to live in the city center or cannot afford to live in the suburbs, they move into these shanties. Yeah. And these shanties have become a hub for crime and criminality. We're talking about 21 kidnappings in Abuja alone this year. Yeah. And we're just in March. You work with a lot of veterans. I want us to lead up to that. Start with telling me what you think should be done about shanties, because demolishing it, is that the solution?
I don't think so, because there are places you call ungoverned areas, and that's where the bandits are in the north. Ungoverned area where there are no government presence. So those guys are free to do whatever they want to do, because government presence was not there. The basic amenities that were supposed to be there from us Nigerians are not there. So those guys become the lord of their territory and they do whatever they like. Now come back to the shanties. Like you said, those are places the low class could afford. So they move in there, which lack government presence, which lack basic amenities. So they remain there. But then all the negative things happen there, because not much attention is paid to them. So what happened? Drugs, they're freely, so many negative things. And then they come to the town, harass you, and then go back to the shanties. So, like you said, clearing the shanties alone will not solve the problem. We must go to the root cause. Why are those shanties created? They are created by these same people who could not afford to live within us. So how did we create that inequality that will not allow them to live within us? They must travel away to go and stay in such places where nobody is paying attention to them, and then they become lords. Now you went somewhere about out of service. There are different categories of soldiers who have left the service. There are some who left honorably. There are some who were discharged and they will get paid. They will get their gratuity, they will get pension if they were due for pension. But the ones that are becoming a threat to us are the dismissed ones. Once you are dismissed from the service, your families, they are ejected from the barrack. They are not paid anything. So where did they go? They have to go to the shanties.
A lot of people are dismissed from service, though.
Yes. Because I will say it, we never took our time to look at what happened to the soldier at the battlefront. Number one, if you send a soldier to a battle, by the time he comes back, it's not the same. It's a different person. Now, at the battlefront, where daily he sees his colleagues being killed, he himself maybe sometimes narrowly missing death, and you think he will not be affected psychologically? No. So sometimes when they misbehave, you need a psychology to look at them. Is this behavior a natural thing or induced by other factors? So if you have a psychologist at the battlefront, there must be. Emotional intelligence must come to play. Look at the man. How does he feel? Is his morale okay, or is low on morale? Sometimes you excuse them when you see such traits and say, no, go and rest.
Retired Air Commodore Balogun, thank you so much for being with us on Dateline.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you to my guest and to all of you for tuning in to this week's edition of Dateline Abuja. Let's keep the conversation going on social media, and please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.